Greetings, Android users. This is Reverend Kyle, your Minister of Mobile Devices. And with me here, I have the new Google Nexus 7, or the Nexus 7 II, or the Nexus 7B. I think they're just calling it the Nexus 7. Similar to what Apple did with the iPad. So this is it. I picked this up at a local Best Buy today, a day before it's supposed to come out, which is July 30th. And we're just going to go ahead and unbox it, and then we're going to take a look at it in comparison to the original Nexus 7. And hopefully that'll help you decide whether or not this is something that you'd like to purchase. So the box itself, I did get the 16 gig version. There is a 32 gig version as well. The price on this is $229 US, and the 32 gig is $40 more, which puts it at $269. $40 more, $269 for the 32 gig version. So let's go ahead and open it here. We'll just slide this off. And here is the internal box. Now there is one piece of tape here, which I have already cut. I will pull this off, cast that aside. Okay, so here's the actual device itself, wrapped in plastic as they usually are. We'll come back to that. Let's see what we got here else in the box. Okay, so it looks like we've got our power adapter. US power adapter for USB here, and we have a few books, and what is that? Okay, a couple quick start guides. This thing shows you where the NFC is, the NFC chip, near field communications. We'll set those aside, and then it looks like we get a USB cable as well. So that seems to be everything that's in the box here. Let me just, yep, that's it. Okay, put that aside. Now the tablet itself, just pull this plastic off here. Okay. Alright. Now I do have to confess I have already opened this and played with it. It's actually already on. And I just wanted to be able to make sure that I could give you a good assessment of the device and how it looks and feels and all of that. So now that we've got it unboxed, let's take a look at some of the features here. So it does look like they have given us stereo speakers. So there's a set of speakers. Well, there's a speaker here and a speaker here. Looks like the camera on the back, that's a 5 megapixel camera, which I did take some pictures earlier. They look pretty good. You have the Asus logo, and then the Nexus logo, which is strangely sideways, which is kind of cool. You've got your volume rockers and your power button, and then it looks like a microphone hole there. You have your micro USB port, which I believe can be used with a slim port adapter for HDMI out, so that's kind of cool. I hope to play with that. Other than that, there doesn't seem, oh, and there's the headphone jack up top there, but it's very, very different looking than the original Nexus 7, and we'll do some comparisons here next, but very smooth, still rubbery, but smooth. The front, nice, thin. Along the sides, it looks like the glass comes together very nicely, and looks like the angles on all of the edges look nice. You'll notice that I have a notification light blinking here, so that's something that the other Nexus 7 did not have. And then you've got your camera and then your light sensor up top. You'll also tell that the bezel on the left and right appears to be a little longer, and again we'll do some comparison in a little bit, but then the side is much thinner, and once we turn it on and actually play with it, you'll get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. All in all, I think the build itself is nice. It's lighter than the original one is, and so let me go ahead and grab my other one. We'll power them both on, and we'll do some comparisons. Okay, on the left here we have the new Nexus 7, and then on the right here we have the old last year's model Nexus 7. Now, I was very surprised to see how different they looked physically. Almost immediately, the first thing that caught my eye is how much thinner the new one appeared to be. And I'll even throw it on top of the other to give you a representation here. It's almost as if it's now I had heard that it was about 3 millimeters on both sides, but you know that kind of starts to add up after a while. It's almost as if the old one has kind of like a case on the back in comparison to the new one. Now, in terms of how thin they are, I don't know if this is going to be an adequate measurement, but boy, it is a lot thinner as well. I was very surprised to see that. Now, in terms of height, they do appear to be pretty close in terms of height. Let me see if I can get you a good visual representation here. It appears that the new one is just ever so slightly taller. So when you look at the comparison of the two, now this is a good representation as well of how thin the new one is in comparison to the old one. So, you know, the understanding here was that this one was the new one was easier in your hand than the old one was, and it's so just a slight bit different. It's almost not noticeable in the hand, but it's obvious that it's there. It's a much different look. And looking at the bottom, you'll notice that the USB port is actually almost identical. However, the headphone jack on the old one is on the bottom, whereas on the new one, it's on the top. Looking at the back of it, and I mentioned it earlier, that the new one has the Nexus logo sideways, and the old one is this direction, and you'll see the one speaker here on the old one versus the one here and one here on the new one. Obviously, the absence of a camera prevents me from comparing those two, and then the volume rockers and the power button are pretty much on par. You'll notice that the microphone hole is on the top of the old one, and it appears to be on the side of the new one. And I don't believe there were any... Oh, there was an additional one on the old one, another microphone hole there as well. Notice that the old one also has these connectors for the dock, and I do have the dock. However, the new one is absent. There doesn't seem to be a dock. That's a good representation of the difference right there of the size. So that's pretty good right there, measurement wise. So yeah, a little bit sleeker, a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner. You'll see that the camera is in the middle here versus slightly off to the right on that one, and then no indicator light, which I really like that. I have the Nexus 4 and I really like the indicator light, so that's a plus for me. To be fair with the comparison, what I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that both devices had their brightness turned up all the way, and I do think that to make this fair, I went ahead and made sure, because I actually do have an alternate ROM installed on my old Nexus 7. My new Nexus 7 is the stock 4.3. I really wanted it to be fair. I'll tell you what, the screen on the new one is just ridiculously crispy. There's no way that I will ever be able to show you a video that's going to accurately depict the difference between the two. I mean, it is just hands down an amazing difference in obviously the pixels per inch and the resolution. I mean, everything is just, it is unbelievable how much crisper and clearer it is. Speed wise, everybody has complained that their original Nexus 7 has slowed down a bit. Mine has as well. It was one of the reasons why I put a alternate ROM on mine. But man, I love the new one, the screen, how it looks, how it feels, the response, 4.3 or whatever the hardware difference is or whatever. It is just phenomenal how much crisper and clear it is. And again, I apologize because my video will never do it justice showing that to you. I guess one thing that I could do is attempt to show you, I will load up Netflix on both of them. I'll see if I can throw something up here on both, and we'll see if we can get a comparison. I was watching the Avengers earlier. Let's see if it'll let both of them play. Okay, well, let's see what we get. And again, the top one is the new one. Neither one of them had their volume turned up. So again, you'll never be able to see the quality difference in the two. Looking at my video preview right now, they appear to be given the exact same resolution and everything. But 1080p versus 720 at the best in terms of Netflix. It does look like the color saturation, like for example, Tony Stark's face there, the yellows seem to be a lot more vibrant on the new one versus the old one. That was kind of surprising to me, that the color was actually overly saturated, because I thought the original one, the colors were just, yeah, they were really bad. So to me, this again, I know this isn't the greatest representation for you to see, but it's the best thing I can do for you. Hey, that was pretty close. I will tell you that in terms of gameplay and in terms of apps just in general, the new one loads them a lot faster. Obviously, it's got twice as much RAM, better, well, a different processor, and you'll probably notice a significant performance boost. If you're looking for an answer as to whether or not to buy the new one versus the old one, the old one's going to go down in price. And if you're okay with you know, a few quirks in terms of the screen and a little bit of bulkiness, you could probably get away with the old one. Now the new one is very sleek, very stunning, beautiful screen, high resolution, better audio output, costs a little bit more, and there are not as many accessories out for the new one yet, at least at the time of me making the video. But I mean, I'm glad I have it, because then I'll get to play with the new hardware and share it with you folks. But you know, is this the major upgrade that we were looking for? I don't know. I'm a little disappointed. I really wished it had had something a lot more significant. People talked about the Snapdragon 600 chip, you know, maybe a little bit more RAM. Whether that would help or not, I don't know. But we'll see. I'm going to play a little bit more with it, and I'm going to do some video, maybe attaching some accessories to it, and then we'll see if it really shines like it's meant to, or if this is a don't waste your money type of scenario. All right, well, I will leave you with that. This has been Reverend Kyle giving you my first look with the new Google Nexus 7 tablet.